Hello, hello, my Let's Talk family. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Let's Talk, the Business Spotlight Edition. And I am honored and blessed to have Dr. Ebonee R. Mayo-Mitchell is joining us this evening. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm great.
Good, good. I'm glad you're here this evening. You have a very unique business that I really want my audience to know about. So I'm looking forward to this conversation tonight. I'll just do a little intro of our Dr. Mayo-Mitchell. She is the founder of College Prep 365 Consultant Incorporated, helping over 4,500 seniors in the last 6 years to prepare for college. And I would like to mention she's a Greek sister. I'm a Zeta, but she's a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And I just wanted to welcome you to the show. So we'll just dive right on in. So tell me your why. Why did you do this business?
Well, thank you for having me, first of all.
Oh no.
I started this business because I fell in love with the idea of understanding why students choose which college they choose. And to give you a little backstory, in research, when we look at research and how people collect the data, they only collect data about low serving African Americans and Hispanics. So I wanted to change the narrative of that. So when I got into my doctoral program, I wanted to do research. There was only one person doing research on that before. And I just wanted to pick up where she left off. And then it turned from the research to the practical world. And that's my why, to make sure that our story is told and that our students are exposed to more than what they think we are.
Yeah, and that's so important. You know, this world, there's a lot of first generational college students. So really, you know, their parents never been to school. So it's kind of hard for them to assist and help when they don't know what to do, you know. And so it's good to have somebody like you that's be able to assist with that. So what is your purpose? When did you realize your purpose of doing this? I know you did your paper on this for your doctoral, but what made you say, hey, I'm gonna start a company on this?
The reason I started the company was really because there's a gap, like you talked about people being first gen. I'm not a first gen, and many of my friends are not first gen. So that's the segment that's for me that is left out in this country, is that middle class. They assume since your parent went, they know how to do everything, but they went 20 years before, so they don't know how to handle the situation now. So that is my why. My purpose for starting this company is to bridge that gap for middle class students who can't get the resources for free at the school, and then they can't qualify for some of those programs or some of the services that some of the other students who are in the high socioeconomic status get. So to bridge that all together, because there is a large population of middle class people who just don't know. They did it and I kind of winged it back in the day in the 80s, but now I want my child to have a better option than what I did. I went to the school that accepted me, but now my child wants to go to these schools. So help figure that out.
Hey, that's a good point, because I went in 88. I went in 88. So I'm thinking about when I did the process, I actually had to write a letter, like a handwritten letter to the schools. And you had to fill out each application separately. There was no online. You could just shoot them out to all these schools. And you just wait for the mail. And then if the letter was little, you know what that meant. You didn't get accepted. When you got the fat pack in there, you know you got accepted. So those were the days. Those were the days. But you're right. And I never really thought of it, as you said, as even if you're not a first generational child,
Everyone needs help.
Everyone needs help. And the parents, like you said, are so far removed of the new technologies of school. They're just like starting over. They've been there. They know about going to a college campus, but there's a whole applying and all that. It's totally different now.
Correct. And like the FAFSA change, everything about it changes every 2 years. And then when you think about the pandemic, that's a total change. So helping people understand the day-to-day of it is what I fell in love with, and making sure that all students, but particularly the people who come to me, are usually middle class. And you know, the middle class is such a large group now. Like it's from, what is it? The Census Bureau claims it from 42,000 to almost 200,000 is the middle class, right?
That's middle class.
Technically, by definition, right? So that's a large population of people. Anybody that doesn't get free and reduced lunch,
that's middle class.
So that's a large population of people who are not getting help or only can turn to the counselor, and the counselor has 500 students or even 300 students to deal with each day. Somebody's getting left out.
That's true. Every day somebody's getting left out. So talking about the coronavirus, how did that affect your business, as a whole, and how did it affect the children?
So for the business, obviously everything we had to transition to totally online. The way I meet clients is usually at fairs, at college fairs and different things like that. So having to figure out ways to engage people virtually is definitely hard because we all get tired of Zoom and all these different things. We have so much fatigue from looking at the camera, right? So that changed. But to be honest, people seek out the service because now they really don't know and they don't have the child in front of the counselor to ask those questions. So people have really turned to like, oh, what do I have to do? How can my child? I don't understand this. And it's been a great space for people like me. And there's tons of consultants that do this.
It is, because I never heard of this on this level. And I guess that's the exposure piece that a lot of us are not exposed to this type of, I guess I call it unique business. Because even though scholarship is not unique, but the services I think are, to me, because I never heard of this until I, did my research. So I think it's something that a lot of people, that's why I'm glad you came up here. So a lot of people need to know about you because we should be able to get a fair share to get into these schools. But a lot of us don't know what to ask or what to do. And we miss up our opportunities because of that. So this is great. So in this whole journey of you starting your company, what are some roadblocks that you encountered?
Oh, roadblocks that I encountered in starting this business were just, I think the biggest thing for me with having to prove yourself, that you know what you're talking about. And I think that's just as a culture, we tend to ask other minorities, well, what's your statistics and what's this and what's that? But we don't go to white businesses and ask that. We never question them. We just accept what they tell us and we keep on moving. So that's a roadblock for me, always having to explain my research and that I've done this for a while. So I think that's a roadblock. But that's the only roadblock. Once we get past that, we're really good to go.
And it's probably too, it's because you look young. You're young, but you're on the younger side and you look younger. So maybe people say, well, you just came out of college yourself. How do you know?
And it's crazy. I'm celebrating my 15 years out of undergrad. So I am not.
Really?
Young. Yes. This homecoming is not going to happen again. Thank you. So I'm in my late 30s.
I know. They was like, wait a minute. They're like, wait a minute, you what? But that's good. I mean, I understand what you mean by that, though. Just proving your credentials over and over and over again, and especially your doctor on top of that. So, but and congratulations on that too, because that takes a lot to do your doctoral. So,
thank you.
No problem. Huh?
Coming on 7 years of that. So,
it's been 7 years.
Yeah, I went straight through school. So, yeah, never stopped.
All right, pray for me. I'm supposed to be going back to get mine. So
definitely will keep you in your prayer. My prayers. It's a road that comes with lots of tears.
I know. I heard the stories. That's why I was like, but I'm still gonna do it. Awesome. So what advice would you take or give? Excuse me. What advice would you give someone who's like this type of thing and is looking forward to get into this niche of college prep? I guess you want to call it.
Yeah, so that's a loaded question. So many people ask me that daily. I think if you want to get into the realm of education consulting, know your niche. So if your niche is traditional age, that is mine. I deal with traditional age families every day, meaning that the student is 16, 17, and 18. I don't do a lot of return students because that's a lot more work for me. My day-to-day is this. So get your niche figure out your niche first, and then know your stuff. No one wants to go to someone who has to Google everything. I can rattle off colleges at the top of my head. I know if your child says engineering, I can give you 20 schools out the top of my head. If they say East Coast, West Coast, middle, this small, big, know what you're talking about. People enjoy talking to someone who doesn't have to Google because they could have Googled at home before they started talking to you. So making sure you understand and know your craft, love it. If you want to get into something like this, you have to show passion because I want every student, no matter what school they attend, to have the same experience I had in my undergrad. Like, it was amazing. That school might not be for you, but whatever school is going to be amazing. And I want you to have that experience, because we think about college is just not about books. It's a whole experience of you growing and learning who you are and finding out what you might want to do with the future. So making sure that that comes off daily in my business is the one thing I tell people they should make sure that passion shows at all times.
Yeah, and mine's too. I went to Virginia State University, the home of the Trojans, VSU. And I love my college. I'm still friends with my roommates. We still vacation together. That whole college experience made a big impact in my life, and it still has to this day. So when I be telling my children who's juniors this year, and I was like, listen, I want you to enjoy that. Like, that college time is books, but it's life. It's about learning life. It's not just books, it's learning life, and it intertwines with everything. So I want them to experience that, because it helps you grow. It helps you grow as a person. You can tell a difference of a person who doesn't and who does, because they got to deal with like life stuff. Like, you got to learn how to deal with a lot of people, different cultures, different diversities. You got to learn how to deal with pressure, deadlines. It teaches you character and it builds you up.
Yeah, I tell everybody my first story. I didn't know how to wash clothes. Like, I was spoiled. And I bleached everything my first week in my dorm.
What?
I bleached it all because I thought, she takes bleach to the laundry room. So that makes sense to me. And so, but I bleached
everything.
I bleached it all.
So you actually put bleach in dark clothes?
I didn't know. I didn't think about it, but that's something that helped some shelter. Wasn't sheltered, but my mom washed clothes, period. She's
like, look, but you know what? I'm thinking about what I did. Everybody has something. Everybody has something. And I know, because we all come out of being under the roof of our parents. So when you go to college, you're going to not know a lot of stuff. Even though you may see your parents do it, but if you don't do it, you don't know until you do it. And like, I was thinking about, I want to open up bank accounts and doing stuff and just checkbook balancing. I just saw it. I was like, what is that? You learn till you learn. So that's things you learn in school. So what are you currently working on now? Is anything else you're adding to your business? Anything else you're doing outside of it?
So right now is the tough part of the year. So no, I'm not currently doing anything different than taking in my seniors, and we are finishing up our Common App essays so we can be ready. Which all my seniors, we're kind of coming towards the end of finishing that essay. The other thing I'm working on, we have an annual gala called Kicking It Up for Teens, which is a scholarship for seniors. They don't have to be clients of College Prep 365. They just have to be going to a 4-year institution in the country. So that happens in May. So we're actually planning for that. But those are the only two things. That's a lot at this point.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
It's not only, it's a lot.
Well, yeah. I guess I'll say that.
Yeah, it's a lot. Dealing especially with teenagers, and you have to kind of keep up with them and like essays and stuff and going back and forth with them about things on the essay. I know that's a lot you have to do. Definitely a lot. So what do you recommend a college student? Okay, let's say when you're a senior in high school, when is the good time for you to start applying for colleges? Is it senior year or junior year? Like, when is a good time?
So you can't apply to your senior year, but you should definitely start to think of what schools you like in your junior year. So you can narrow down by the August of your senior year what schools you want to apply to. There might be some that trickle into that list because, we're human and we're going to see something different at the beginning of the school year that we didn't know. But definitely, you should know the schools you want to apply to by early senior year. So when it's time for the applications to open, you can go ahead and do.
And, and I'm thinking now, I'm just going back in memory lane. And I remember we had a college fair in our high school. And I remember there was one particular school that everyone applied to. Even if I wanted to go, I wasn't going to go because I just didn't want to go to school with everybody I went to high school with. So think about, like, that's my selection. That was my selection process. Like, Oh, you going there? Okay, I'm not gonna go there. Like it's a party or something. It's like it's not. It's a school. So this is great that you're bringing this up because there's so much more in picking a college than worrying about who's going and who's not going. Because when you really get there, you realize you don't see them like that anyway. Because college is something different. It's not high school. So I didn't know that. But I was exposed, and I see that you had went to Morgan State University. I do have love for Morgan State because that was the first time I was ever exposed to a college in the HBCU. My guy was actually a Delta as well. Shout out to Justine. She, Nikki, her sister went there. And they asked, I came there on a weekend to visit. I fell in love with Morgan State, fell in love with just the culture and just the friendship. And it was just amazing. Like that made me want to go to college. Like that visit made me want to go to college. So Morgan State, I'll give them a little shout out. I love Morgan State. So
I did my doctorate at Morgan State, so I don't have the campus experience that you're talking about. I saw a little bit of it, but I went to Johnson C. Smith in Charlotte, North Carolina. So definitely CIAA for life. So definitely. Yeah, and then I went to Howard and I had the same, it continued on at a different level and then Morgan. But I just don't want to give off that I had the daily update at Morgan of the campus life.
Well, look, they have your money, right?
I have found on by that time that I'm only in research. Let me focus.
So. At that point, it was out. But I mean, hey.
I was just trying to get out of school by that point.
Well, I mean, definitely, I know it's so important. School is so important, and it's a good thing to do if you want to, further your careers. I would do recommend it, to do. So, what are some of your defining moments in your life? Something that pops in your head, like that you always could remember your defining moments.
Well, I guess I would say the first one would be the PhD because that was something that. It's an epic feeling to go through something and see yourself. It's the only degree that's not conferred by classes. It defers by a paper, and you need approval to get out. and to go through that process, I have not heard anyone that's made it out without a tear. So to get through that, that was the most amazing experience of my life. Hard, but very amazing. And the second thing I would say, honestly, would be starting a gala. Most people have to start fundraisers with other people. To do this all alone was amazing. With the support of my friends and family who helped me to get it through. But people told me, like, do you know you just had a whole gala by yourself? Like, oh girl, I didn't know. I knew I did it, but you don't feel it when you're doing it because you said I'm going to do it. Those people, if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Just didn't like it. But yeah, that was epic. And to be able to give money back to students, like it's a dope feeling to be able to bless people with something small. We're not giving out millions yet. One day we will.
That's right.
Thousands of dollars out to students that we don't know. You don't have to know me to get money from me. So those are two defining moments in my life, definitely.
So give my audience your information. How can they find you? If they need your services or interested in donating to your gala.
So yeah, we're at College Prep 365 on everything. Our website is collegeprep365.com, Instagram College Prep 365, Facebook College Prep 365. Everything is College Prep 365. And that's what I did. And our email is info@collegeprep365.com. We try to keep it all together so no one gets confused about anything. Don't leave off the 365 because it's 365 days that we talk about college. That's why the 365. So.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Dr. Mayo-Mitchell. You have been amazing, and I'm going to actually be contacting her this and I need that help. I really do. So I will be contacting her myself. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. Let's talk. Once again, we have been blessed with a superior guest this evening. So thank you again. And as I always say, invite a friend. Let's talk again. Until next time, God bless.